This is pure ayahuasca, by the way.
Oh, good. Excellent. The end of this recording will be very interesting. It's going to turn into Aaron Rodgers talking about the inner journey, visions of himself. That's what it takes a pro quarterback to any amount of inflection. That's what it needs. He needs to do. You need to do ayahuasca. Apparently,
Of course.
the rest of us just write books.
That we do. That we do.
That is going to be my segue, because we are going to be we're talking about Tear Me Open today. Here's Unwrapped. Your new collection. It's right there. There is the cover. Go grab it. I read it. It's incredible. It's really good.
Thank you.
This was wrapped in plastic, right? And this is the re-release with extra stories in it, more stories.
Yeah, there's a couple extra stories in there, and it has a new cover.
It's it's an incredible cover. You sent me that cover, and I was like, a spider with eyeballs. It's just immediately evocative. And immediately, I know I'm a huge sucker for vintage horror covers, and it immediately strikes that perfect chord of, disgusting and kind of ominous and gross.
I had a feeling people were going to be grossed out by it when I got to see it. It's weird. I wasn't following the process of Santiago painting it. Santiago Caruso did the cover, and he was like uploading process videos to his Instagram, and for whatever reason, I wasn't seeing them. I don't know why. Like, my Instagram algorithm is fakakta, but after the book came out, I went and I was looking at his page, and I was like, oh, he's been uploading process videos the whole time. Like, that's so cool. And when I saw it, and I saw the eyeballs, especially, I was like, oh, people are going to have some issues with the grossness of this. But not like in a bad way, but in like a fun way. And it works perfectly with like the Fears Unwrapped thing, because it's, I can't imagine I can imagine a lot of things, but like, having your eye plucked out by a spider would be pretty gnarly. I think of that scene in I always call it Seven Doors of Death, but I know it's called The Beyond in some places.
Beyond,
with the splinter in the eye, like, as always being like woof. But
it's also what Zombie. They has the
Oh wait, is it Zombie that has the splinter in the eye, not Seven Doors of Death?
In Zombie, there is. I don't know about. I can't remember from The Beyond, honestly, but I do know in Zombie, a zombie pulls a woman's eyeball directly into a wooden splinter spike or something. Like, pierces it. It's really gross.
Yeah.
That movie's not that great, but it does have a zombie fighting a shark and a woman's eyeball getting pierced by a piece of wood. So can't be too upset about it.
I don't like when like the zombies don't follow the rules that you have set. Like that comes out of nowhere. Like, if the zombies that they're doing are like supernatural beings, so in that case it sort of makes sense that they would kill however they want or whatever. Like, do they even show them eating anything? I guess they show them eating the shark.
It's been a long time since I saw Zombie. I watched it, I think, one time. I went, okay, this is okay. This is fine. As a zombie fights a shark, cool.
Yeah.
How can you hate it?
I feel like there's a website, Zombie versus Shark or something.
There is. Yeah, that was in the zombie craze of the late aughts, in mid to late aughts. There was a lot of people really. Again, we go through these phases where the zeitgeist where everyone's just obsessed with zombies. Everyone's obsessed with vampires. I don't know why we seize upon these monsters. If it's really just pure marketing, or if there's.
I think in horror, like, we get things fed to us, and I think a lot of people just kind of go with the vibe, as opposed to like really being like, like, it's like the A24 thing, right? Like, everybody's wet for A24 movies, and really, if you think about it, there's like 3 good ones.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, they're cheap to make, so they make a lot of them, and a handful of them are, wow, those are really great, and the rest you're like, that was okay. That was fine.
Like, I feel like Neon has a better record than A24 in terms of like the movies that hit. Obviously, Blumhouse
Yeah.
in my opinion, has a better record than A24 in terms of movies that hit. Like I never came away from an A24 thing other than The Curse that like left an impression with me. I guess I mean I don't is The Witch A24? I don't think it is, right?
I can't remember off the top of my head
I feel
what
like Robert
productions.
Eggers is not an A24 guy.
No, I don't think so. The Witch is
Um,
great, but I don't think it's A24.
like the front room, I think is A24. That I loved. That's like my favorite.
I haven't
Then the
seen that.
curse. The front room is so fucking campy and so brilliant and
Okay.
so good.
I'll add to the infinite list of media I must consume.
I know it sucks. It never. It like if you really like. And I was talking about this a little bit last night on the Talking Talkies thing that I did. Oh, I'm giving a timeline as to what time this is a timeless thing. I'm sorry,
Fine. It's
but
fine. I don't care.
okay, cool.
I do
But
not
like
give a shit.
we talked about how like I've really missed a lot of stuff. Like if I didn't get to blurb it, or like if it's not a friend's book, then I likely have not read it in the past few months if it's been released. Like because I've just been in nonfiction mode for so long now. So like my whole goal for the summer was like to get caught up on people's stuff. I was gonna do like the summer of Stephen King because I have everything because my mom had everything or she still has everything and she has doubles of everything and she
Right.
gave me the ones that she didn't want anymore. Um, and I was like, okay, this is the time because I've only ever read two Stephen King books,
Which ones?
Thinner
Okay.
and I read On Writing. Those are the only two.
Well, I like both of those. Thinner
Yeah.
and on writing is a really. I mean, I don't ascribe to everything he suggests in on writing, but he is the best selling author of all time. If he gives you a book on writing, you should probably at least read it once just to get done. You should probably do that.
When I was doing my MFA, they were giving us all these writing books and all this nonsense, and it's like I was not into it. It was COVID time. I was really worried about dying, and I was writing my book, The Triangle, and like they would give these things like, oh, you have to read this person's book and this person's book and this person's book. And like we had to write responses to them. And I would read like two chapters in the books. And then my response would always be, well, in Stephen King's On Writing, he says this. And considering how successful Stephen King is and how he could buy and sell all these other authors writing these self help writing books, I'm going to listen to him instead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I always take a, like, I'll read a book and I'll take a little bit out of it and go, oh, that's useful. Put that in my pocket. And the rest of
Yeah.
it go, that doesn't seem very useful to me. It's okay.
But like, I know a lot of people were really hot to trot for like Save the Cat.
It's fine.
It's a perfectly cromulent book.
Yeah, exactly. It's cromulent. It's perfectly fine. I have some questions for you from
Oh, I'm
Tear Me
sorry.
Open, at least, about in specific things
Hmm.
that I really liked and you did very well. And I'm get your reasoning on it. Um Sleepy Hollow Gang versus Codman starter opens the book, which again, great story, fun, Monster Squad vibes, obviously with the teenagers fighting a giant corncob man, which I've not read. I haven't read the origin of Cobb Man from
Mhm.
it's on the list of many other books, like you said, of the catch up. But there's the ultimate battle. I'm gonna try and remain spoiler free for most of these
Yeah.
questions, but there's a big ultimate battle,
Mm-hmm.
and the choreography is very very good. The action is very clear while
Oh, yeah.
staying evocative. When you're writing a big set piece like that, or basically
Yeah.
choreographing a
Yeah.
big set piece like that, how do you like retain clarity while being evocative? How do you, like, I don't know, that's a thing, it's a thing I struggle with. Like, you
Yeah.
don't want the action to get muddy, but you do want description, you want it to be powerful and capture that image in someone's mind.
Yeah. That's an awesome question. And thank you for saying that. I did pretty good at that. I feel very lucky that I had two really great because I something writing action was something I like really wanted to try to get better at when I first started writing, because like I felt like some my early action scenes were like muddy, like you put it, you know. So I reached out to two authors in the New York chapter of the HWA who I think do action better than anybody, and that's Teal James Glenn and Carol Geisander. Both of them write action so well that I just took their advice 100%. And so the cool thing about in Teal's case, do you know them, by the way?
I do not.
So Teal is like gigantic. He's like this enormous, tall monster man, but he is the sweetest, like most eloquent, beautiful soul. Here's a cool fact about him. He played Vega in the old College Humor Street Fighter videos from way back in the day.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't that badass?
Awesome. That's really awesome.
And he was Doctor Strange in the Thanksgiving Day parade for Macy's, when they used to do the big Marvel float with the live characters and stuff. So he's
Okay.
my all-time favorite Doctor Strange. But he and Carol both, who Carol won a Stoker this year as well. So like, hooray! Like that rules, because that anthology is amazing. But the two of them write it with such crystal clarity that I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, there's certain people that like when I want to try to do something better, I go to them. You know, like you're writing second person. I think Megan or Curry does that better than a lot of people do. So if I was to ever try to write second person, I would go to her. With the action, I went to Carol and Teal, and Teal was and still does, I guess, in some ways. Like if he was asked to do it, he used to do fight choreography for like
Okay.
Trauma and stuff.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know a couple trauma guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so the way he put it was like you have to think of it like staging, kind of, and like for your audience to keep track of what's going on, subtle reminders of like the spacing and like where things are. And also like in all honesty, comic books helped a lot too. Like action set pieces in comic books really helped me keep track of things, because I just remember the death of Superman specifically. There is so much going on in those original comic books, like keeping track of like when Justice League International and the League engaged Doomsday early on, and like Booster Gold nearly gets killed, and it's like a whole, keeping track of the fact that like Fire and Ice are down there fighting this thing while Booster Gold is getting his ass handed to him. Stuff like that helped a lot too. So I think reading comic books really helped a lot, but also having two people in my corner who write action, in my opinion, again, better than anybody else, um, you know, that helped a lot too. So I learned a lot from the two of them. Like I'm always trying to like learn and get better from my, superiors. And there are many of them. So when I try to write something southern and sweaty, I'm going to come to you.
Oh, okay. That's very kind of you. I mean, but I'm the same way. I just go read Robert McCammon or something like that with the soaked through with rot and sweat. Yeah.
It helps to because, and I think too, like in our genre, like we have a lot of people who do take mentorship very seriously,
Yeah.
and they will help you. I have yet to, like, when I wrote I started writing a sequel to my book Nocturnal Creatures about like the Bigfoot stuff or whatever. And I don't really know a lot about like weapons. Like I know
Right.
like Call of Duty weapons, because I used to play that a lot.
Yeah.
But like, and I know like,
Video game versions of assault rifles. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I got an AK-47, but that's not as good as whatever. Like, I don't know. So I reached out to guys who like I knew were hunters, and I reached out to cop friends of mine and asked them about like, well, what would have stopping power, but what would also be like believable that a normal person could use? Like, what is stuff that, if you were a person with means, would you be able to obtain? So like and there are people like that in our genre too, like people who like know their weapons and guns and shit. Like, oh, can I curse? I can curse, right?
You can curse. You're fine. This is a podcast about writing dark fiction. I am not going to try and keep this PG.
Okay, cool. So yeah, like there's a bunch of people that were very helpful with that, and I never finished that book, but like one day I probably will go back to it, and
Yeah.
I still have all the research that I did. So, that's where I think like the networking and like the participating in a group, whether it's the HWA or like any other kind of writing group that you can, do, like a lot of local libraries have writing groups that you could join. Um, that really helps you because you get other people's perspectives and people who want to help you and they want to like help nurture your craft. And that was a big part of it. So like writing the action was all Teal and Carol, and I'm very thankful to them because I took all the stuff that they kind of taught me and brought that to the book that I just turned in, my third YA novel in my trilogy. Like there's some pretty big action set pieces in that, like near the end, that I remembered all of their guidance, and I brought it into that too. Oh, you didn't hear me. I asked how old are you now, and then I said
Oh,
22.
I am 40 years old.
Awesome.
Old
Being 40
man.
rocks. Like being in your 40s rocks. When I turned 30, that was like very cool. And then my 30s were fucking awesome. And now that I'm 41, like my 40s are pretty damn good, and I'm very happy about that. So like, I don't know. Who knows if I'll be here when I'm 50, but like I
You'll
hope
make it.
so. Maybe my
I'll
50s will be
I'm
good.
gonna ensure that you make it to 50.
Thank you.
I'm
I
doing
need
my
someone.
own.
Thank God
I'm gonna,
someone
I'm
will.
gonna do as much as I possibly can. Okay. And then my next question, and
Hmm.
this is one I think that I personally, you talk about asking your peers for help. This is one I think the biggest thing I tackle now in my own work is basically exposition. How much exposition to include? What kind of exposition to include? So
Hmm.
in Tiny Town, which I
Yeah.
love, Tiny Town's my type of story. Uh,
Cool.
there's a passage where the old woman, witch, creature, whatever she kind of explains her role in this. It's not very long. It's maybe a paragraph.
Hmm.
And it's well done. But she kind of explains this is, and this is how I work. This is
Yeah.
it, kind of setting rules for the reader, kind of like this is why I am here, and this is what I do while I'm here.
Hmm.
And then contrast that in A Year of Bloody Gums, which is really good, but has much less explanation about what is happening to our Kiara. Like she's bleeding from the mouth, and then really bad things happen, and you don't really know why. You just kind of get her perspective. It's very limited, and she is either there's my take, which it feels like she's hallucinating, and it's her own fears kind of coming to life in this kind of semi lucid state she's in. But I don't know. I didn't write it, and you don't say it,
Hmm.
so it could be anything. Is is it just by feel? This story, it feels right to have no explanation in this story. It did feel like to have a little bit more exposition.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think sometimes I fall into like the trope of I think of like of Watchmen when Ozymandias kind of lays out his plan to
Right.
Rorschach and Silk Spectre
I
and
did
Night
it 30
Owl.
minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah, and then does the whole "I won" thing or "I did
Yeah.
it," which I would love to get that as a tattoo to match my
Oh,
uh,
yes. Oh, yes. Exactly.
get
Perfect.
that
I'm
right on the other side. Just
Of
Ozymandias,
course.
I did it. Um, but yeah, like I sometimes like if I have a villain in a story, in the case of the tiny town, the goblin, um, she very much is just a villain, and I think like she has the girl tied up, and it just kind of falls into that like ridiculous trope kind of thing. And I feel like that's like more of a pulpy, fun story. I love that story too because it's like based on a real place on Long Island that I grew up like 5 minutes away from. So that was really cool to write about. But then like in A Year of Bloody Gums, because I was going for more of like confusion, and she doesn't really know what's going on, if anything that's going on around her is actually happening. Like, why is her body betraying her like this? Like the confusion of our bodies kind of falling apart. It just didn't. It made sense to kind of just like overload her with stuff without a tremendous amount of explanation. Whereas Tiny Town, because it's a more straightforward, like fun kind of story, which like I think Tiny Town is probably one of my favorite ones in that collection. Also, like I really love that one. That and probably For the Gods are my two favorite of the the stories that are in there. But yeah, I think that's probably why, because the nature of the story, and by feeling, like you said, like one should have felt more hallucinatory and confusing and overwhelming, I guess, whereas the other one is more like, let's just have a good time with a creepy premise and a spooky creature.
Matching matching the tone
Mm-hmm.
of the story, or at least
Yeah,
what you want the tone to be.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a lot of how much detail do I give the reader? How
yeah.
much do I want them to know? And I don't know. There's a lot of me right now as I'm working through things. I'm like, how much should I explain things? How much, I don't know. I probably shouldn't think about it too much, but I do think about, am I confusing people? Are
Well,
people getting lost?
the best thing that I've always found is like when you stop thinking about it, it like there's more purity to the story.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to explain. I when the Vile thing came out, like one of the things that I kept hearing, like when I would do like book events and stuff, like whether it's in person or online or whatever, is people would be like, "I want to know what happened with the mom in England, and I want her story," and blah 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 blah. And like, did you read the Vile thing?
No, it's again, I think it's
Okay.
on my
No, it's
TBR.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
No, it's so like there's a mother character who has like kind of a shady history or whatever that happened in the UK that basically forced her to come to America. And I like reference some stuff and like drop subtle hints as to like what it was that happened, but like the amount of people that kept telling me how badly they wanted me to tell that like story was crazy to me, because in my mind it is so fucking uninteresting and so like how could you possibly, like, the breadcrumbs that I give you, what you could fill in your mind is so much more interesting than what I
Yes.
would end up
Yeah.
giving you. Like, I don't know why anybody would want like so much spelled out for them, and like
Well, I
I don't like
I
that.
went to a book club event. I did a book club event for my book, "What Dwells Beneath the Waves," and
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that happens off page, and they're like, "Well, what happened to that character?" I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me." It seems like they're dead. That's what it seems like to me. From what I give you, it seems like they died. A
yeah,
bad thing happened to them is what I think happened. But I
right,
don't know. I didn't say it explicitly. So they're like, "Well, what? Tell us." I'm like, "What
yeah,
do you mean tell you? It's not on the page. If it's not on
yeah,
the page, it's up to you.
yeah,
You decide."
and that's so much more fun. That's so much more fun. But like, I don't know, and I don't know why. I don't know when that happened. Like with people, like did people reading Rosemary, like when they read Rose, and I'm not like comparing my shit to Rosemary's Baby. Like I would never.
That's going to be the pull quote coming out of this podcast. Robert Ottone compares himself.
He compares himself to Ira Levin, long
Yeah.
dead Ira Levin. Um, but like, did people reading Rosemary's Baby want a prequel story about like the neighbors? Like,
I don't
and then we
know.
got that movie. Did we need that? I haven't fucking watched it. I'm not gonna.
No, I did not realize that existed until you said that. But
It's on
I
Paramount Plus. It's called like
oh
Apartment A69.
but I don't want to watch that.
Who cares?
Rosemary's Baby is there. Why on earth would I want to go watch a worse thing?
Right. Exactly. And like, it's different when the author like revisits, certain concepts of their own work. Like it's different when like William Peter Blatty wrote Legion as like a pseudo sequel riff on things that he did in The Exorcist. Like that's a different story. You know what I mean? Like that's totally fair. Like it's different when like Paul Tremblay does a short story pseudo sequel to A Head Full of Ghosts, where
Yeah.
he brings these characters back. Like it's different. Like that's him exploring something in a different way using familiarity to back it up.
Well,
Like
one is driven by, it feels like capitalism, like we just want to make money, and the other one feels like, no, I want to explore themes that I have myself introduced. I want to
yeah,
push things in a slightly different direction. I want to feel things out and see if I can push it in a different place.
broaden the world, broaden the universe a little bit
Yeah,
more. Like the
which is, I
whole
mean, that's entirely different.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's exciting. But like to do something that like the person creating it. and I'm not talking just like about myself. I'm talking, because I'm sure there's like a million people who have said to John Langan, like, "Hey, when you do that part in The Fisherman, when you go back in time and tell us the story of that, you should do that as a whole book." Like, why? He did it in the goddamn book that
That
exists. Like,
that
just
book is there. Why would you don't need to do it again?
right. So, and then like, and another thing that is weird too is like talking about like the idea of like the broader universe that you create, like people wanting sequels to things and people wanting things set in like a specific universe, and it's like the marvelization of things has just gotten like a little out of hand. I think like I think you and I talked about it. I talked to about Superman a lot. Like Superman just came out, everybody.
I am seeing it tonight.
Okay, so I'm very excited for you, and I wish I could see it with fresh eyes again, because I loved it so much. But like, you know, I'm very excited for like universes coming together, like and all that stuff. But also at the same time, like there has to be room for like broadening the universe within that universe. So like we shouldn't be so like, oh well, this is the next book in the Fisher universe that John Langan did. It's like, how about we just say it's a John Langan book? Like we don't need like all of my stories for the most part take place in the same universe. Like Sleepy Hollow Gang originally didn't, but now it's like folded in
You
with
pull it
everything.
in, yeah, exactly.
Yes, because like Cobman exists in my regular like literary nonsense that I do, but Sleepy Hollow Gang didn't, and I was like, well, how am I going to bring them together? Fuck it. Sleepy Hollow is an actual town in upstate New York,
Yeah,
and
of
so is
course. Yeah.
the fictional one that I made.
I immediately went, "Yep, sure." It's not a crazy leap of logic.
No, so like I don't know. I do think a lot about like people wanting things that you just don't want to do. And I remember I was writing the sequel to the Sleepy Hollow Gang, um, and I was just not into it, and I was not feeling it at all. And then when the idea of like combining them with Cobman, I was like, yes, okay, this
I mean, that's it's like ultimately that's the big test is like, does it excite you?
yeah,
Does it interest you? Like
yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I've written in the same lines. I think a lot of my books take place alongside each other.
yeah,
Take place in the similar place and sometimes may cross paths. But if it's not in a direct, like I'm not going to write any sequels that are going to be the same book again.
yeah,
It's going to be if the same characters are in them, it's going to be drastically different circumstances. They're going
yeah.
to be in a different place. Yeah.
Like before I started working on this nonfiction thing, I was working on like a true like more traditional follow up to the vile thing we created, not like a sequel, but a story set in the same town, like my weird little fictional resting hollow town thing that I love. And then I started working on this nonfiction thing. But all throughout this process of writing this nonfiction thing, all I'm thinking about is going back to that fiction book, how desperately I want to go back and work on that because that's like kind of where my heart is living, and that's like the thing that excites me. But it's also at the same time not a supernatural story even in the slightest. It's just a story set there, and it's dark,
Yeah.
but it's not, there's no like ghosts or anything. But they do reference like, oh, that's where that couple lived that killed their kid or whatever, like, which is a vile thing reference. Or like there's the this town is something weird happened there, and they say there was like, I don't know, they referencing Cobman or whatever. Like stuff like that is fun, I think, but also like, you know, writing things that are just like writing a series is really hard. Like having just completed a trilogy, it was very difficult. Like the second book, and I just realized something in talking to you now.
What is that?
So I really hate Halloween Kills,
Okay.
and I realized that the second book in my trilogy is very action heavy, like Halloween Kills, and I wrote it before Halloween Kills. Oh my god, I'm just like David Gordon Green. I'm the David Gordon Green of horror literature. Everybody, that's the
We're gonna
pull quote.
That's the full quote, David. I would stick with Ira Levin then versus going to comparing yourself to David Gordon Green. Nothing nothing against David Gordon Green, but maybe not the same pedigree.
But it's just it's really hard. It's hard. Like, oh, I'm parting my hair the wrong way.
You're
It's like
fine.
it's so difficult to do. Like playing in the same sandbox for a long time is really hard. It's not, and it's not. The fun doesn't last.
No, I mean there are people who can just write the same series like their entire lives and seemingly feel very very excited and happy, contented with it. I
Yeah,
certainly can. I have to jump around. I have to do different stuff, or I'll lose my mind.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
heart in it.
It's
There's
like
no
a
heart in it.
musician. It's like sometimes we get mad at musicians when they evolve and they try new things, but like, how could we, like,
Yeah.
how could we harsh somebody's creative process? Like when Paul Banks from Interpol started doing like more electronic kind of music under the name oh god, what was the name that he used? I can't remember. Julian something. I can't remember. But the song's called Skyscraper, like the one that I love. And it's very strange and like almost like Radiohead-y. And people were like, well, this
Right.
doesn't sound like Interpol. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, because it's not Interpol. It's him doing other things. It's like Bernard Sumner with New Order. He went and did a bunch of different things that were all electronic. And like, what's the problem? Like, exploring new things is fun. Exploring new things is exciting. We'll see what happens.
Okay. This is the final question,
Yeah.
or at least this for the first round of questions.
Okay.
Um, in Only That You Are Still Sane, which is referencing Watchmen. There's
Go.
definitely Doctor Manhattan vibes, in which again I appreciate.
Cool.
But you do mention Wells, Bradbury, Irving, Heinlein,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's an easy trap. Speaking of references to either your own work or to other people's work, it's an easy trap just to fall into. Here's me referencing a bunch of things that I like or that you know. Um, in that story, I think it belongs perfectly because it is a time travel story and it's about a person who would know about all these other time travel stories.
Mm-hmm.
Is it simply a matter of finding that right story? You can use those references when it makes sense in the story especially for that perspective character.
Yeah, this is a person who, is a scientist, and thus they would probably explore fictional things that related to their field of study. And in this case, it's like temporal and engineering and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's fair to do something like that. Like if you have somebody who's like a baseball player making references to Heinlein and
Yeah.
Bradbury and stuff, that wouldn't, not nothing against jocks, but like, you know.
Stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Most guys on my football team in high school were not reading Golden Age of science fiction.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So, in this case, like, because he's a scientist and because like I really wanted to overload it with like the things that were inspiring it, it felt natural to do it. Like even as you point out, like the Watchmen connection, like literally the title is a direct Watchmen reference to when Dr. Manhattan's friend is giving his interview on, I think it's on Dick Cavett, and he says like, "Oh, if this fills you with existential dread, all that means is that you are only still insane, only that you are still only sane, or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, well, there we go."
Yeah, it's supposed to be heavy and awful.
Yeah,
Normal people can't react blithely and coldly to the news that
got it.
there's a superhero around now, a man who can control time and space.
Yeah, he
But
could
I mean,
dismantle anything just by thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Turn people into snowflakes.
God, I know that was your last round one question,
No,
but
you can go ahead.
I just I really love Watchmen just so much. I have
It's great. It is.
it's
I refuse. There's always people who are trying to, you know, I guess reflect on the canon and reflect on, and even in comic books, it is obvious. I mean, I think it's worse in comic books. Honestly, people were constantly trying to reflect on things. Actually, that's not that good. Actually, that's not that important. I'm like, no, Watchmen is that important, and Watchmen is that good.
it's the only book on the what is it, the Time 100 most important novels of all time. It's the only comic book on that list. And like there are other comic books that are excellent, but they're not Watchmen. Like they're just not. Like it's impossible to
Well,
top.
I this is a thing have been doing a lot lately. I don't know if it's just because it's in the front of my mind. I think
Mm.
it's partially because I'm reading Buffalo Hunter x Hunter, which is great, and it's about America. It's
Yeah.
one of those books. It's like this is about America. This is not like, obviously there's a whole plot and stories and characters. Really, this book, in like Moby Dick, it's another one. It's about America. Blood Meridian, it's about America.
Yeah.
And Watchmen is about America. It's
Mm-hmm.
about it's about superheroes, which are an American invention. So it feels like that is it. Why it's so essential is because it feels again like it is about not just a bunch of superhero
I,
archetypes.
I remember when Doomsday Clock was coming out and people were
Oh, don't get
dunking
me
on it.
started. Don't get me started
And I
on
know,
Doomsday Clock.
I know it's not great. It's not like the amazing thing that it could have possibly been. But like when you think about what Alan Moore said about Superman, and it's all positive. Like everybody has this weird like, oh, he
Oh,
doesn't
he
like
loved Alan
Superman.
Moore loves
He
Superman.
loves Superman.
He
And
loves
like,
Superman. Yeah,
because he gets it.
yeah.
Like Mark Wade gets it. Like like Neil, not Neil, Neil, who's the who am I thinking of? The bald um writer who did Superman beautifully.
Grant Morrison.
There you go, Grant Morrison.
Grant
Grant
Morrison.
Morrison gets Superman. Um, like there's certain people who just get it, and like the idea of Doctor Manhattan and Superman colliding in some capacity is interesting, and that the idea that like Superman would essentially be the one thing that ties all of the DC universes that
I
Doctor
mean,
Manhattan created together.
like foundationally, like the ideas of Doomsday Clock are very, very interesting to me. It's more in the execution and the very, I don't know. I also, what's his face, the writer of Doomsday Clock and
Tom
many other.
King.
No, it wasn't Tom. Was it Tom
Was it
King?
Jeff Johns?
Jeff Johns. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a lot of strong feelings about Jeff Johns.
I have a problem with both of those guys, with Tom
I
King and Jeff Johns.
I like Tom King when it's specific types of stories. I think he's great but the problem is when you try and put other stories with him, he ends up writing that same kind of story again, even when it doesn't apply.
I had a problem with him attacking. I think it was Jay Lee,
Oh yeah, that was. I mean,
and it's
get
like,
off,
hey,
get off the internet. Everyone, get off the internet, man. Like all
and
these people, get off the internet.
it bothers me too because Tom King was a CIA analyst, and his job was getting information correct, and he
Yeah,
got information about a fellow comic book writer, or excuse me, artist, incorrect.
yeah.
And it's like, well, that calls in my mind, and I'm going to throw him under the bus because I'm never going to meet the fucking guy. But like that calls into question. How about the rest of your work for the agency, bro? Did you do as good a job with that as you did with dunking on Jay Lee? I
I
don't know.
mean,
That's a
I
thought.
mean, there is I mean, you don't have to be a forensic scientist or a lit major to read most of his work and go, he feels real bad about being part of that war.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of guilt interlaced in all those stories about, oh
yeah,
no, I was part of something real bad.
yeah.
And here, me, I'm going to try and write through all that. I mean, like Mr. Miracle in particular, even though I think Mr.
Oh,
Miracle is probably, I don't know, is I think if you divorce it from and I think that's the thing with a lot of Tom King. It's like you have to kind of divorce his stories from the rest of the canon, the rest of the continuity. If you try and make them make sense in line with like
they're one
Mr.
off.
Miracle over the time, it doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
There he writes his I mean Bendis is the same way. There's a lot of writers who do that where they're just like, this is my version, and I'm not gonna try and reckon with the continuity of the character from the past 50 years or whatever.
I talked on social media in like the DMs with the guy who drew the Mr. Miracle, Mitch Gerards or
Yeah,
Garage.
Mitch Gerard, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of said to him, I was like, "This is just Jacob's ladder, right? Like he's dead." And he was like, "Yeah, like he
Yeah.
killed himself." Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I mean, I like, I don't know. I don't I'm glad that they're like trying artful things in comic books, even if
mhm.
they again speaking to swing and a miss sometimes. It's time for the second act.
Mm.
I'm gonna just ask you some questions.
Cool. I like
Um,
Act Two. Act Two is usually where the meat happens.
Act twos are hard.
Act Two
But I
is very
mean that,
hard.
but good act twos are great.
What's the greatest Act Two? I'm gonna ask you a question, motherfucker.
Oh
What's the
no.
greatest Act Two in literary history? I think I know what it is.
Oh
Or
man.
I've got two in my head.
Oh, you got two. I don't know if I have one. Trying to come up with a good act two. Maybe it's just because I was thinking about it real hard today. Running Man. Speaking of Stephen King,
Oh,
Running Man has a really good act. I mean, Running Man has a good act 1, 2, and 3, so I can't be too upset. But I really like the act 2 because the biggest problem, hardest thing in act 2s is maintaining momentum and it beginnings are have inherent momentum, and endings you're building and building towards that big climax. Act two is the struggles keeping that momentum, and Running Man is like a goddamn bullet. That book
Yeah,
moves like light speed.
I
or
have to read
or you Running Man is my favorite. Like, I Long Walk, here, say this is my couched answer. Long Walk is my favorite.
it. Mm-hmm.
Running Man is the best.
Oh, okay. See, a buddy of mine loves The Long Walk also. So like
We all do. We all, as boys, I read it when I was 16, and the protagonist is 16.
okay.
Yeah. What were
I,
you two? You have two answers. What are the two answers? This is good.
yeah.
I'm gonna add this to my list of questions. What's your
Okay.
favorite act two? This is a good
Um,
question.
in my opinion, it's The Exorcist and The Fisherman.
Okay, well, that's pretty good company. Those are pretty good, goddamn good books.
The greatest horror novel of all time, and then the greatest modern horror novel of all time. Yeah, I'm keeping the two in good company.
Yeah. I can't argue with you. They do have very good act twos as well, and
I think
I think it's, but they also, like, it maintains momentum,
the exciting
maintains that.
thing about in The Fisherman, Act Two in The Fisherman is takes place in the past. Like
Right.
it's like, man, how did you do that? It's like, God damn it, I just want to be as cool and as good as you one day. And I just like every time I talk to him, I'm just like, I want to like,
How do you do it?
yeah, like we drove to an event together, to and from, and I thought like I would use that time to like pick his brain, because like we've become friends, and it's like it's a weird honor to be friends with the guy who literally inspired me to write horror. I know it's strange, but like we were driving to this event, and the whole time, like instead of talking about like writing, we were
Yeah.
just like bullshitting about like upstate New York and teaching and blah blah blah, and it like was in every single way better than like, what about like this and that with characters and like, like I feel like that's the thing that he's like the masters always talk about, like, you know what I mean. So it's just kind of cool to like let your hair down and just BS. I don't know.
Well, we're all still people. Just because we write
Yeah,
all the time, it's not, we're not all in our own heads as much as people think we are.
that's true.
We have lives. We go do things. I mean, I'm sure there are writers who just sit in their cave and don't do anything else. But everyone I know, all have. We're busy. We
Yeah.
got lots of stuff to do.
We contain multitudes.
Yeah, exactly. Um. Okay. My actual first question in this round
Yes.
is, what's a word you hate?
What's a word that I hate?
A word you hate for any reason. It doesn't.
Can't.
Can't. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't like hearing it from my students because like I'm like, so here's the thing, because that's my first thought was like, what don't I like to hear my kids say?
Can't.
Can't. Because like it doesn't matter to me if you get it right or wrong. What I care about is that you try.
Right.
And like, because I teach language, especially, if you make a mistake and you say, oh, I can't do it, or I can't say it, or I can't pronounce it, or whatever, like, don't throw in the towel. At least try, because I'm going to give you full credit if you try, whether you get it right or wrong. Like, it's not about the destination in this case. It's about the journey, and it's about like the process. So like, can't is my least favorite word.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
I like that a lot. What's the best piece of advice you've followed?
Um, the first time I met um, Paul Tremblay in person, we were hanging out at a bar, and we were just BSing, and we were talking, and I told him how like nervous I was to meet him, and it was just the two of us, and he said, like, if you go into things with like walls up or like nervousness up, or like you put like a separation between, and it goes back to what you were just saying, if you put like a separation up between you and the person, that like you're putting them on a pedestal or whatever, then it's always going to be like that, and it's always going to be weird. But like, if like you said, like realize like, hey, normal people, blah blah blah, like then you get along better, and it's just a more free flow, it's more fun, and it's more real, and that's something I kind of like live by now after that interaction.
I mean, I was going to Stoker for the first time this year and meeting you even. We were friendly for well before I met you in person, but it's more just that again, I think some of it is that seeded from I'm not there. I'm not at their level. I haven't gotten to that, and like, no, of course not. I'm not Paul. You're not Paul Tremblay. I'm not Paul Tremblay. Like, but
Yeah,
it's fine. And
yeah,
most of the time, and the vast majority of the time, those people are, I mean, horror writers specifically are like, so again, welcoming and kind and not prima donnas. Like, they're not like, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm a big shot. They're just like, no, I write spooky stories for a living. It's not a big deal. You can say
yeah,
hello to me. You can talk to me. It's not
yeah.
a yeah.
Like they, what's his name? Oh my God, how am I forgetting his name? I want to say Evely Bailey, but that's not who it was. F. Paul Wilson. F. Paul Wilson was at
Definitely
Stoker Con,
Bailey.
and he was having dinner with some of the HWA bigwigs and stuff. And I was standing with Jim Chambers, and I looked over, and Jim had gotten up from the table to come over and say hi to me or whatever. And I was like, "Is that F. Paul Wilson?" And he was like, "Yeah." Um, I was like, "Wow, that's so cool. I would love to just say hi and shake his hand and thank him or whatever." And Jim was like, "Do you want me to bring you over?" And I was like, "No, like not during dinner. Like I don't want to bother him while he's having a drink and just bullshitting with you guys. Like another time. Like if later in the con or whatever, like that'd be cool if you could do that." And he was like, "Yeah, of course." And it didn't happen because I'm assuming he's swamped by people. But like like Rachel Harrison's really good about this. Like there was a point where I was overwhelmed at StokerCon, like in the lobby area, and she just kind of like came over and was like, "Hey, let's go have a cigarette outside." Like she's good about choosing her spots and like disengaging and stuff, and like that's something I have to try to get better at as well, and like taking more time to like chill and like
Don't
disengage from
don't
people.
be on the entire time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
She's
it's
and the amazing thing that I find about her is she is who she is all the time, and it's awesome. Like I love that. Like that's why she's like one of my favorite of like the modern crop of like young writer people that I guess would be like, you know, I mean, she's not up and coming because she's like a huge author, but like, I don't know why I was thinking that, but like, it's not true. But like, that's why she's my because like one of my favorites because she's literally who she is, no matter where she is, and she's just so cool and so fun and so sweet. So yeah,
yeah. Um
look at this. Look how many grinds are at the bottom of my ice coffee. This is awful. Ugh.
eh, it's that's life.
Mm,
It's life.
that's life.
That's life. Coffee grinds at the bottom of your iced coffee. What who's the writer more people should be reading?
I want to say you because this is your
Oh,
program.
that's don't worry. I'll be shilling this, don't worry. This is the Ravi show, so they'll get plenty of me.
Who's a writer more people should be reading? So my buddy John Collins just had his novella come out, The Leeds Point Horror. I want everybody in the planet to buy that, and I think in my opinion, it's the best. Um, because your book is excellent. Yours is one of my favorite novels of the year that I've gotten to read. I got to read a lot of good novels this year, but yours is definitely in the top 5 that I've read.
It's very kind.
I would say John's is probably the best novella of the year, alongside, I would say, Grace Daly's The Scald Crow. And I would also say Alessandro Martinez's Root Fingers. Those are the three, in my opinion, those are the 3 best novellas of the year. So I would say, though, if you're going to choose one of those 3, I'm sorry, Alessandro and Grace, but by John Collins is The Leeds Point Horror.
Well, I'm gonna go buy all 3 of them. So
There you go.
there's 3 sales there. Um, all
Here's
right.
a cool thing about John. Ready? The
Okay.
cover of his book was done by Rebecca Cuthbert. Do you know her?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
She's in the New York HWA. She's very cool. She's one of the people who runs Undertaker Books.
Oh, okay.
Um, she did the cover for the Leeds Point Horror, and John got it tattooed on his arm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really badass.
I've got a few tattoos inspired by my books, but
Mhm.
nothing, none, never got the cover itself
Yeah.
tattooed on me. What's a traumatic childhood memory that's made it into your writing?
I have a short story coming out in the Poison Soup anthology that Grace Reynolds and Wendy Dalrymple are editing for Bridget's Gate. And I pulled from a memory that I had when I was a little boy. I was like 4 or 5, and I was chasing a frog in the yard, and it went under the fence into the pool area. And I went in. I was able to unlock the pool area gate, and we had a big pool. There was a shallow end and a deep end. Deep end was 12 feet. Shallow end was like 4 or 5, depending on how high the water was. And I was trying to get the frog out, and I fell in the pool and almost drowned.
Jesus.
And my brother, who used to be like a heavy duty, like athletic specimen, jumped the fence like a Olympian, all in one leap, just whoop, right over the fence and dove in the pool and saved me. So that I wrote a story kind of centered around that incident. But that's probably the most traumatic thing from childhood was almost drowning in our pool.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
was I'm it feels like everything I write, I'm just ripping out those things and just slapping them on the page
Yeah. I have a
over and
lot. I
over
feel like I
again.
have more trauma as an adult than I did as a kid, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Even
Um,
though it's not good, but it is better.
it's better, yeah, because I don't have any like negative. When I look back at like being a kid, I don't have any negative thoughts at all, or negative feelings at all. Like I had a really nice childhood. So, other than almost drowning, but again, that wasn't anybody's fault. It was my own dumb fault for chasing a frog.
Well, I mean, I think we can forgive you for being when you're 5 years old, you're trying to save a frog.
Yeah, I thought he was having
Yeah.
a hard time. I didn't know. Like, it's a stupid baby that I am. But yeah, I saw a frog up here at the house that we bought upstate, and there was a frog in my backyard, and all I could think of was like, there's really no water nearby. So like, where is this guy going? And I just watched him, and he went under my fence again, out towards like the road behind my house, and I was like, oh god, like I can't be here in case he gets hit. I gotta get out of here.
You're I in living in Florida, there are so many frogs
Oh really?
that there are tree frogs in particular. I grew up out in the woods in
Hmm.
Florida, and you would leave your porch light on, and so many bugs would like. I lived in the forest, so 1,000 bugs would be there, and therefore 1,000 frogs would be there to eat the 1,000 bugs. But also, you can't be very precious about their lives because in rainstorms they would cross the roads by the hundreds,
Yeah.
and you can't it's not like one frog you can avoid it. You're
Yeah.
just like, well, I don't want to get in a car accident, sorry frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and then there are many of them so you don't feel too bad. There's a lot of tree frogs, they're still doing fine as far as I can tell.
I used to see
um
a lot of geckos because my family had a house outside of Tampa, and
okay.
we used to
Yeah,
get a
plenty
lot
of
of geckos.
lizards too, yeah.
Yeah, and they were always really cool and really fun to like watch move around and like just see their vibe of just like how like nimble they were. I always thought that was cool. We used to get bunny rabbits on in the yard all the time. There was one time I saw a snake on top of the bushes, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not touching that."
I've had see that's another my upbringing is that I've had rattlesnakes in my house, and I just you get a clothes hanger, you straighten it all the way out so it's a and you put a little hook on the end of it. You get a pillowcase, use the hook to scoop up the middle of the snake, you dump it in the pillowcase, you let it loose outside somewhere, and you go back to your life.
Ugh.
I mean, I remember my dad killing a giant rattlesnake when we were children because he was afraid for us. But
Sure.
again, I mean, it's just, I remember having those little lizards, Florida lizards, and when we were kids, you make little earrings out of them because they would bite your earlobes. You grab one and then it bites your earlobe, and then you take another one and it bites your earlobe, and it doesn't let go, and it doesn't hurt, like really, it's only a little bit. And you just leave them there, and you have little.
Oh
We're
my god.
dumb kids with lizards on our ears. It's so silly. It's so
That's going to
dumb.
be your autobiography title: "Dumb Kids with Lizards on Our Ears."
Oh man, if I ever write one. Um, are you ready for the final? I think I'm gonna go with the final bloodletting or
Ooh,
blood on the or just calling it blood on the typewriter for the final segment.
yeah.
Which is where kind of we talk through some struggles maybe you've had with a work in progress or past work in progress, whatever you'd like to share. Is
Mhm.
there anything springs to mind? Anything you have?
Yeah. I'm writing this nonfiction thing right now, and it's very difficult to write because it deals with some stuff that I was connected to a while ago, and it deals with something that I was connected to like 2 years ago when I was still on Long Island. And the only thing that the thing that I keep thinking about is that my mom still lives on Long Island. So when I'm writing this thing, I worry about her
Right.
specifically, and I'm having to coordinate a lot of interviews with people. Like I actually am doing 3 interviews today.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, 1:30, 3 o'clock, 4:30, and I just keep thinking about like taking the time to do that, and then of course like I'm recording the interviews and stuff, and then I got to comb through them, and like it's a lot of work and it's difficult, but also at the same time like the people who know like what the project is have been like, this could be something for you, and so like the investment and like the difficulty, like the opening of the vein, I hope will be worth it in the end. But I'm also like just so worried about my mom, and I'm hoping that I can maybe somehow get her off Long Island before the book were to come out. Um, I don't think that'll happen, but
Yeah.
we shall
Moms
see.
moms don't want to move.
Moms do not want to move. My mom is very resistant to moving, which I get. I understand her reasons, but it's a very big house, and she is a tiny old lady. You met her at StokerCon, right?
No, I did not meet your mom.
No, she was
Mm.
very overwhelmed with the amount of people that she was meeting,
I
and
mean, I mean, I was overwhelmed by the amount of people I was meeting. I was trying to keep my head,
it's a lot.
yeah, stable. And have you written any nonfiction before?
I've written essays, and I've written like I used to write reviews. Like when I was a journalist, I did a lot of like reviews, and I covered crime for a long time on Long Island, and I covered different like entertainment and stuff like that. But like I've never really written anything quite as like possibly incendiary as this,
Okay.
and because it's really taking where I used to live and putting it under a horrible microscope that like you don't want to. It's not always great to like turn over the rock because you don't want to see what's underneath,
Yeah.
and this is kicking over as many rocks as humanly possible.
Okay. Oh, you are being purposely cagey, so I will not probe too deeply.
I'll tell you about it offline.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
But I think that is interesting that I've never written a special. I mean, I've written essays and reviews and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
mostly about pro wrestling of all things.
Awesome.
But yeah, but never nothing long form. Certainly not like a full. That's not a novel anymore, but like a full book of uh, a nonfiction, and I can't imagine. Although
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't it is I can't imagine the challenges of like I mean I guess if you have a background in journalism it comes a little bit I guess more secondhand than
Yeah.
writing a novel.
There's and like I'm 41, and there's a lot of like memoir stuff in this too, and I hate the idea of like writing about myself and like writing my inserting myself into this thing, but like the way to present this story is through presenting myself and like my discovery of things that were going on or whatever. But like I would like to work on more nonfiction. I do have ideas for follow ups to this. If this was a thing that was to happen and people would want more of this, I have ideas. Um, and like you mentioned the pro wrestling thing, like one thing that I've always been really interested in is the relationship between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit.
Oh Jesus,
And I
yeah,
know Chris Benoit, we look at him, obviously negatively because of what happened, but like the relationship between the two of them when they were obviously both alive and healthier, let's say,
yeah,
I've always been like kind of impressed with. Like they seem to have like a legitimate love for each other as like brothers. And I've always been really interested in maybe writing something about the two of them before things went bad.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, the hardest thing is finding people. If you can, I mean, talk to Chris Jericho would probably be the answer. Is actually the answer is go
yeah.
talk to Chris Jericho and see what he says. But
I
I
did the
mean,
lion walk when I graduated high school, by the way.
okay,
So I did a little Chris Jericho.
okay, fair
You
enough.
know, I love
He's at the car convention I'm selling in October. He's a celebrity guest, so I don't know. I my appreciation of Chris Jericho has risen and fallen throughout the years.
Yeah,
As a wrestler, he's always been great.
yeah,
I was Chris Benoit when that happened was my literal favorite wrestler,
yep, yep.
and
It
oh
was kind
boy,
of hard. It was hard not to like him before all that. That was uh, that was awful. And
yeah,
I think that's the best of those Vice documentaries is the one about Benoit. Like by
yeah,
far, that and the plane ride from hell, I think are the two best of the Vice Dark Side of the Ring
yeah.
documentaries.
It feels nowadays, no, the more recent ones, it feels like they're really stretching. Like,
Yeah,
what's
'cause what are they going to talk about? How cool the New Day was? Like I don't know.
it
Like
just happened? Yeah,
that was like the last time I was ever really like, oh my god, like New Day fucking rules. Like,
I would love. I would be really interested in, and then maybe they exist, and I just haven't done the research. But there's like old, like 20s, 30s, 40s, like wrestling that I don't know. Like I'm
yeah.
well versed in like the sordid tales of the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Hmm.
Give me people shooting in the 1920s, and stuff like that. George
Yeah.
Hackenschmidt and all those guys. Like I'm like, but the problem is like, who do you ask? Like all the
Right.
people
Those
you'd
guys
have
are
to
gone.
you'd have to dig up, people who knew people who knew people who've gotten stories, and then at that point, is that real? It's pro wrestling, so of course it's not real. They're all liars. They're, they lie for a living. It's what they do.
I watched a documentary about Glow. That was on, I think it was on Tubi. It was all about like the formation of Glow and on all the women who performed in Glow and all that. And because I loved that Netflix show. And I knew about Glow beforehand, but then watching the Netflix show, I was like, oh my God, like my fervor for Glow is coming back or whatever. And then like almost, I don't know, I guess it was like 5 years later now, my wife and I just watched the documentary that's there. And I was like, oh, Glow was so cool. That was such a great idea. And it was like so cool to see them presented as like superheroes and cartoon characters, like in a way that the WWF at the time was doing, but in like more long form storytelling, it seemed. And I just thought that was so
Ha-
fascinating. And I know
Have
other promotions do that now, and we're
Yeah.
doing that, but it's just really cool to see with all women.
Did you ever watch Lucha Underground?
No, I need to watch
You
Lucha
should watch.
Underground.
You can get it for free online. You should watch Lucha Underground. It's it was in the dark period of the WWE where it was utterly unwatchable. It was an alternative that was really different, and it's like telenovela. It's like
Awesome.
stunt show. It's like even like there's weird like there's magic in it. Like they don't
Awesome.
care. They're just like, yeah, this guy's a wizard. Yeah, this guy comes back. This guy came back to life. This just happens. He doesn't. You can't kill him. He
This
comes
guy's
back
a
to life.
monster
This,
who
I mean,
eats
literally,
people.
Matanza is literally basically Jason Voorhees. He's literally just like a slasher villain who's a wrestler, and they just treat it like, yeah, that's what he is, man. And there's also like, and then there's more mundane characters, but it's full of that. It's great. Lucha
I love
Underground,
that
I
shit.
hard to suggest. No, but I'm interested. I'm very interested about this nonfiction thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you're rightfully probably dancing around speaking publicly until it becomes a thing, probably.
It's
Um,
my best title I've come up with.
okay, wow,
Like easily my best title.
that's incredible. Um, where can where can people find you on the internet?
I really only mess around on Instagram. That's the only place that I think is still sort of fun. Um, The police are coming to arrest me. I'm sorry.
There's a YouTuber I follow he's a cook. He does cooking shows, but he lives on in New York City, so there's always constantly sirens. And every time a siren is nearby, he goes, "I hope they're okay."
That's awesome. I
So
watch a
that's all I
YouTuber.
think about.
I watch a YouTuber who lives in New York, and he's always like sequestered in like his bedroom, and so you hear nothing. So it's like,
That's
oh, all right, that's cool.
I
But
would I'll now every time I hear sirens, like I hope they're okay.
I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Robert Ottone. I'm on Facebook as well. I feel like I keep getting these like phantom friend request nonsense, like, and then of course like I make the mistake of accepting them because I see a bunch of people accept them, and then invariably the tell me your writing story, blah blah blah. It's like no, leave me alone. Like stop. I hate that shit. Like there's nothing worse than that. So I just delete everything. But then Instagram is really the best place. I'm also on Twitch. I'm trying to build my Twitch following. I don't stream regularly, but I'll tell you, I'm trying to do a charity stream around Halloween
Okay.
um, with a couple other horror authors. So I would like people to check out my Twitch, which is I think it's just Robert Ottone. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Let me just check. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just Robert Ottone. It's just my name, and it's a picture of me cuddling the vile thing we created. That's my photo on there. So
I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
thank you. I
People
appreciate
can
it
find a
because
link to that.
we're trying to raise some money for a charity that I've been wanting to raise money for a while, and finally this Halloween season, I'm actually going to be able to do it with an event that I'm doing on October 6th here in upstate New York, and then with hopefully with this charity stream, as long as I can figure out how to like do like work in the charitable aspect of like people donating while they watch us play. We will be. I'm not going to say who is going to be joining me, but I will tell you we're going to play the game Phasmophobia.
Oh,
So it's
awesome.
gonna, yeah, so it's horror authors playing Phasmophobia, and if judging by my test stream the other night with a couple of the authors is anything, one of well, actually, I'll be totally honest, we all were like getting scared playing it, and like we were playing it legit, like we were trying to like
Actually,
figure it
yeah,
out.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's like the perfect game in my mind too. It's just so fun. Oh, see, I did the thing again with the hair going the wrong way. So normally this way, so this way. There we go.
You look
I'm a bad boy today.
the bad boy of horror, Robert Ottone.
Chico Malo himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chico Malo,
yeah.
exactly. Well, thank you so much, Robert. It was great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I love it, and I hope I get to come back at some point and we
Oh,
can talk more wrestling.
I'll definitely have you back.
Excellent. Thank
Like
you.
first episode of every season.
I'm into that.
Yeah.